Ladies and gentlemen, everyone's ready? Hands are washed? All right, so once again, welcome to the Cooking Clubhouse here in Fort Collins, okay? As I mentioned, my name is Alex and I will be leading your class today. Before you start cooking, I'll give a couple more steps just to make the class a little bit more easy to follow, and then we'll start cooking, okay? So paella, more than a recipe, it's a technique of cooking. What I mean by this is, as long as you know the steps, you can swap with the ingredients and make a variety of recipes, okay? That being said, you're gonna be having 3 different paellas today, and at the table, you're gonna share them all. So you're gonna be trying my favorite, which is the wild mushroom and truffle paella, which are these 3, okay? These 4 are the traditional seafood, and over here we have the chicken paella, all right? Again, at the table, it's gonna be shared at the center, so you're gonna be having 3 different kinds. We've also made 2 appetizers and a dessert for you, so it's a 5-course meal, and you're gonna be having 3 different Spanish wines. Currently, you're having Cava, which is a sparkling wine. At the table, we're gonna be having white wine and red wine, okay? So I'm gonna be going step by step through the class. Please, again, be careful with the cables. We have things literally plugged into the lobby because of there's a lot of electricity being taken from here. So try not to unplug anything, try not to spill anything onto the plugins just so we avoid any issues, all right? The hotel engineers have tried it a couple times, so everything should be set, but just keep that in mind, okay? Now, in Spain, we say salud, which means health. So salud, cheers to you guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, cheers. Salud. There's 3. Here, sorry, I'll take this one. All right, so these stovetops are very easy to handle, all right? We're gonna have you turn on the stovetop by pressing the power button. It's right, right on the actual screen. And you're gonna turn on your stove to number 2. Yeah. 2 is a medium-low temperature, okay? Now, we have brought over this cold pressed extra virgin olive oil. These are to share with those beside you. So you're gonna crack it open, and you're gonna add about 5 seconds of olive oil directly to the middle of the pan, all right? Yeah. 5 slow seconds. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You can, yeah. It's more oil than you think. All right. Very good. Perfect. So, paella is all about building different layers of flavor, okay? You have the base olive oil, which is gonna give a lot of flavor to the rice itself. Now you're gonna be adding in the aromatics. Depending on the paella you're making, depending on the protein, you're gonna add some ingredients or the other, all right? So for the meat paella, your aromatics are gonna be the whole garlic clove and the rosemary sprig. They're on top of your mortar and pestle. You're gonna add those 2 ingredients whole into the pan, okay? For the seafood paella, just the garlic, right here. So throw it into the pan. And you guys are gonna add the thyme, fresh thyme, all right? Yeah, throw it right in there. Yeah, so you're gonna just add the garlic and the rosemary. Now using your tongs and your spoons, you're gonna move it around. It's gonna get very aromatic in here. Yeah. Can you guys smell that? Yeah? Very good. All right, so you're using your tongs, you're gonna flip the garlic over every so often, all right? Make sure it gets nice and dark. And, all right, ladies and gentlemen, so eventually these pans are gonna get really hot, okay? So if you do grab it by the handle, which you will have to at some point, you wanna make sure that you use your napkins, okay? Should be okay. Good. Vale, ¿puedes traer un platito? Sí. Uno de esos, por favor. Yes. All right, so for the meat paella and the seafood paella, you're now gonna put the garlic back into the mortar and pestle, okay? These are on 2? Yes. And, see. And you're gonna put the thyme on this little dish, okay? Yes, please. All right, now the oil has a lot of flavor and it's nice and hot. Sorry, yeah, over here. There you go, very good. Now the pan is starting to smoke, which is perfect for searing the protein, all right? For the seafood paella, you're gonna start with your calamari. It is 30 seconds in total. So throw the calamari in and mix it around, okay? You're gonna sear the chicken wings. Put the chicken wings in the center, and it's about 1 minute per side. And you're gonna be searing your mushrooms, all right? So you're gonna put, sorry, the portobellos. Yeah. Yeah. There you go. And you wanna make sure that it's cut side facing down, so there's a lot of surface area. The cut side facing down, so there's surface area. Yeah. Good. All right. So we're not there yet, but the following step, you're gonna be like, this guy's crazy. So usually when you cook seafood or meat, you would never put it back onto a raw plate, okay? That's cross-contamination. But since we're gonna be cooking it again, in this case, it's gonna be okay, all right? So when I say so, the chicken, you're gonna flip it over, and then in your case, you're gonna put the calamari back in the same dish, okay? Again, this is only okay because we're gonna cook it again, all right?
Just add more oil.
Very good.
Don't fire me.
No, not at all. Very good. Yeah, give it a little mix, and let's see, you wanna get some nice color on it, yeah? Yes. Also, another thing I forgot, you cannot cook unless you have a nice glass of wine in your hand and something to nibble on, okay? So, on your station, you guys have a cheese and charcuterie board, all right? You have manchego cheese, you have some jamon serrano, that is for you guys to nibble on, all right? Go ahead. Yes. Now, go ahead and take that out, put it back in your dish. Yeah. So it's only half cooked, all right? You're then gonna sear the shrimp. The shrimp is 30 seconds per side. 30 seconds, 30 seconds, all right? Back a little bit, there you go. Very good. Yes, go ahead. And again, we're only part cooking this, okay? Very good. Yeah, yeah. So I already did mine. Then you're good to go. You can nibble and have something to drink.
Is that good?
That's okay, yeah. And, all right. Okay, so while we sear our ingredients, we're gonna take a peek at the seafood stations, okay? So you guys may find this following step a little bit gross, but in Spain, this is very typical and it gives a lot of flavor, all right? In Spain, we have whole shrimp. You cook the shrimp and then you suck on the heads. You suck out all that juice, okay? Yes. And in the kitchen world, the stuff that comes out of the head is called the coral. Coral is a fancy name for saying the brain of the fish, but there's a lot of flavor in this, okay? If you've ever had a French bisque, it's the same thing because you literally blend whole shrimp, whole crab, and everything, but you don't see it. So for the seafood stations, you're gonna flip the shrimp over. You're gonna take your wooden spoon, all right? And you're gonna crush the heads. A whole bunch of juice is gonna come out, but that's delicious. All right? Then you're gonna cook that, all right? Go for it. All right, flip them over one more time. Very good. All right. A tiny bit longer, yeah. Okay.
I don't want to crush your head.
You're good? All right. All right, so for the mushroom and truffle, you're now gonna take out the mushrooms, place them back in your little dish.
Take out the mushroom?
Yeah, back in this. You're gonna add another generous amount of olive oil, and you're gonna caramelize your carrots, okay?
Generous caramel.
All right, so the protein has been par cooked, okay? At this point, you're gonna take the shrimp out, put it back on your dish, take the chicken out, put it back in your dish, and now you're gonna caramelize your white onions, okay? So you're gonna take the white onions that are directly in front of you, throw them in the pan, and if the pan looks dry, add more olive oil, all right? Yeah. More olive oil for sure.
Now it looks like I did something.
Very good.
It's amazing. See?
Perfect.
Ready.
Very good. All right, so everyone is currently on the same step. You guys are making sofrito. Frito means fried, sofrito means refried, all right? Sofrito is this thick sauce of refried vegetables, which is the soul of the paella, all right? This is the secret to making a good paella, because the rest of the recipe is very mathematical. It's just about timing things and weighing things properly, but this is the soul of the dish, okay? Now that I have your attentions, do you know why this dish is called paella? No? No? Any guesses? All right, so traditionally in Spain, paella was made by your father or your grandfather, all right? Sort of how like barbecuing in many cultures is the same thing, okay? So in Spanish, para ella means for her. So when you cook for her, tú cocinas paella, all right? So yo cocino paella, all right? So ladies, gentlemen, go back home, make this dish for your daughters, for your moms, for your wives, whatever it is, because it's paella, all right?
You are a good team support.
All the way over here. A bit more. There you go. All right. All right, so for the three of you guys, we're gonna add more olive oil, all right?
Okay.
The reason is, since your ingredients are very finely chopped, they absorb a lot more, all right?
Okay. Is that the same?
It's the same, it's not the same one, but it's also from Spain. We brought it over.
Well, it's gotta be better.
Yeah, exactly. That's good, that's good.
Generous.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Okay, now the game is on.
Vale. All right, guys, so this is looking perfect. You want to try to keep the onions a bit more together. Yeah, same thing, a little bit more. Yeah, yeah, very good. All right. So I'm now gonna have you guys turn to number 3, okay? You're gonna turn on your stove tops to number 3, please, all right? We're gonna gradually turn the temperature higher, okay? So turn to number 3, temperature 3, please.
We have to agree.
There you go, yeah? Good. That's great. Okay, so while we wait for these onions and carrots to caramelize properly, you're gonna be making a spice mix, okay? So in the mortar and pestle for the seafood paella and the chicken paella, you should have your garlic clove, all right? Apart from that, right beside the mortar and pestle, you have a spice dish, all right? All the paellas contain rosemary, garlic, and thyme. The seafood paella, the chicken paella has paprika. You guys are using saffron, and you guys are gonna be using the truffle oil, okay? So you're gonna put these ingredients into the mortar and pestle and get a very fine mash, all right? You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna do the same thing, but you're also gonna add 1 or 2 of these mushrooms in there, all right? Yeah, so add the spices.
And then where's the truffle oil?
That's the final ingredients.
Oh, okay.
So 2 of these in the mortar and pestle.
Where's the truffle oil go?
That's gonna be for them.
Okay.
Yeah. Whoop. There it is. You gotta. Yeah. Guys and ladies and gentlemen, don't be scared. Mortar and pestle, you can really go up and down. All right? Okay, you can turn your staff to number 2, push this to the side, and add in your onions, your peppers. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. All right, cool. That's okay. Turn it down to number 2 now. Number 2. Number 2. Back to number 2, please. All right, number 2 now.
Yep.
Now push it to the side.
Turn it down to 2.
Turn it down to number 2.
Do you want to leave our garlic clove whole?
Yes.
Put our tomatoes in?
No, push it to the side. No, not yet. And throw in your onions. Yeah. Yeah. Keep it separate though. All right. So, yeah, that's good.
We add this here now.
No, sir, you're gonna keep that in the mortar and pestle. You're gonna keep your spice mix in the mortar and pestle, okay? Do not add it in. All right, push this to the side and add in your green onions, okay? Simply keep it on the side. Very good. Push this to the side and add in your green onions. All right, so you should now be doing the following. For the seafood paella, you should be caramelizing the red peppers and the onions, all right? For the meat paella, you should be caramelizing the onions, the green beans, and your green onions. So that's perfect. All right, you can put it back in the middle. And for the mushroom and truffle, you're now gonna push the carrots towards the side of the pan and add in this mixture. This is leek and onion that's been put in a food processor, okay? Yes. All right, just turn it off.
I know, what the heck?
Temperature number 2.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. All right, okay, so what you're gonna do now is, with your spoon, you're gonna collect your spice mix, but do not add it in. Just have it on the spoon ready for the following steps, okay? All right. Okay, so you're gonna collect your spice mix, put it on the spoon, but do not add it in, all right? Just make sure it's on the spoon ready for the following steps. Same here, you're gonna collect your spice mix into the spoon, but do not add it into the dish, okay?
Wait.
You're just gonna, this one.
Oh, collect it
Yeah,
to this.
but do not add it in. All right, you can now mix all this together. So you can mix this together. You can now mix this together as well. Right. Good. All right, you guys can now mix in your onions, mix this together. You can mix this together. Yeah, mix it together. All right, so seafood paella. You guys are a couple minutes ahead, so turn down your stoves to number 1. Okay. I'm gonna have it turn it to number 1. All right, number 1. You're ahead of the game, so you can turn it down to number 1 and just hang out. You know, every so often move it around. Yeah. Good. All right. Okay, so does anyone know what socarrat is? Socarrat, all right? All right, so socarrat is the Spanish version of crispy caramelized rice at the bottom of the pan. It's delicious, all right? Every culture has their own version. Some countries call it el pegado, some call it con colon, depending on where you're from. The crispy burnt part is the best part, okay? That's why you're gonna caramelize your ingredients heavily, and then later on, we're gonna add the rice and toast it to get a lot more of that socarrat, okay? I'm gonna have the seafood paellas back on number 2. Now, everyone is gonna be deglazing your paella pans. So, for the seafood paella, you guys have white wine. It's in this little vessel. You guys have red wine. So, seafood paella, white wine, meat, and truffle paella, red wine, all right? It's not this one, it's in your little dish, all right? Go ahead, and you're gonna scrape the pan to deglaze. Thank you. I'm gonna push it back just a little bit. There you go. All right, so now we're gonna slowly wait for all this wine to evaporate, all right? I'm gonna do a quick step. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so again, I mentioned paella is a technique, not a recipe, okay? But there is a couple common denominators, ingredients in all of them, okay? In a sofrito, all sofritos have tomato puree, all right? So you guys have crushed tomato in your metallic bowl, add it in and mix it in really well with the rest of your ingredients. We're then gonna let this reduce until it's a thick sauce. Yeah. Voy con el siguiente paso.
Vamos.
Este paso para atrás. Right, Tony, can you turn it down for 1 second? No, sorry, that. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you guys are almost done with your sofrito, okay? The following step is a technique called blooming, all right? This technique is used in the Spanish cuisine, but it's also used in the Indian cuisine, all right? It's a way of getting more flavors from your ingredients, okay? So the sauce that is currently in your pan, push it off to the side. You want to leave the middle empty, which is the hottest part of the pan. You're going to add a drizzle of olive oil into the center. All right. Now, the spice mix that you made, which should be in your mortar and pestle, all right? You're going to add it on top of the olive oil, and for about a minute, minute and a half, you're going to fry your spice mix. So you're going to push the spice mix into the olive oil. Don't mix it with your sauce, though. You want to keep it separate. And it's going to get very fragrant in here, okay? You're okay, no worries. That one, yeah, yeah. So put it right there. Good. Now, the Mexican cuisine does this a little bit as well in their salsa tatemada, which is the sauce where you literally roast the peppers on a fire. Same thing. By toasting your spices, you're going to get much better flavor, all right? And again, it's going to get really fragrant in here. Yeah, you really want to break it in there. Yeah. Very good. Are you now? Oh, it smells delicious, guys. It smells really good. All right, at this point, mix it all together, mix it together, mix it together, mix it all together now, mix it together. All right, mix it together and turn it back to number 2. All right, come here, number 2, mix it together. Muy rico. All right, so what you currently have in your pan, this is your sofrito, okay? I'm going to teach you the way that restaurants make paella in Spain because as you see, this procedure is quite long, all right? And in restaurants, you can't have people waiting for an hour while you do this. So the restaurants make a really big batch of this once or twice a week. So when you order the paella, they take the pan, they get it hot, they scoop the pre-made sauce into the pan, and they continue from this point on. So at home, you can do the same thing. Make a very big batch of this, freeze it in individual portions, and whenever you want paella, you just take the sofrito out of the freezer, throw it in the pan, and start from here on, okay? The following step is adding in the rice, el arroz bomba. This rice is coming from Valencia, okay? If you do not find arroz bomba, you can use arborio or carnaroli, which is Italian risotto rice. It's the same family of rice, okay? But if you find the Spanish one, much better. You're going to grab the rice, you're going to shake it into the pan, and you're going to fry the rice with your sofrito, okay? Mix it really well.
Shake it into the
Yeah. And mix it really, really well with your sauce. All right, done. Perfect.
Good job.
Yes. Vale, Nico. Ahora sí podemos quitar los morteros. Push this back a little bit, Donnie. There you go. All right. All right, guys, ladies and gentlemen, ready for the next step, okay? So what you're gonna be doing now is we're gonna be adding in the broth, okay? The proportion of liquid to rice is 1 part broth to 2.5 parts liquid, okay? For the meat paella, we're using chicken broth. For the mushroom paella, we're using vegetable broth. And traditionally, for the seafood paella, we will be using fish broth. But I searched everywhere and I could not find it here in Colorado, okay? So if you do know where to find a good fish broth, use that. If not, you guys can use, yeah, I couldn't find it. So you're gonna be using vegetable broth today, okay? There, that works, all right? So you're gonna add half of the broth All right, pour half the broth in now, and then you're gonna slowly mix it in. When I say slowly, I mean very slowly because these pans are gonna spill. And now you're gonna turn on the stove to number 5. And this is where we hope that. Okay. All right, cool. You can leave it there for a moment.
Oh, I don't have to hold it.
No, you're okay. Okay, now I'm gonna have you guys take a peek over here for just 1 second. All right. So, again, we're gonna go back to that word called socarrat. Socarrat is that crispy layer of rice, which basically is just burnt starch. How do you release starch from rice? By mixing it. That is why when you make a risotto, you're meant to mix it. The more that you mix it, the more starch you release. So I'm gonna have everyone take a peek over here. I'm gonna use you an example, Danny. So you're gonna work in small, gentle circles all the way around the pan like this. We're gonna do this for about 3 minutes to release just enough starch to get some of that crispy rice at the bottom, okay? Go ahead. I think, yeah, I paused it. Oh, cool. Vale, Nico, si quieres ya darle un varillazo al gazpacho, y ponlo en las jarras. All right, you can now add in the remainder of the broth. Same here. All right, at this point, you're gonna add in the remaining broth, okay?
All of it.
Yes. And once you add it in, give it one final mix with your spoon, and then no more mixing the rice, okay? Yes. Now, this little trick I just taught you guys, all right? If a Spanish grandmother saw me mixing this rice, she would kill me, all right? Because for a Spanish grandmother, once you add the rice, you no longer touch it, okay? And you just let it cook. But a restaurant chef knows that when you mix the rice, you release more starch, so the result is gonna be better, okay? So if you want more socarrat, you mix it. If you do not want any socarrat, you do not mix it, okay? So that just depends on you guys, but socarrat tends to be a group favorite, okay? So you no longer use your wooden spoon, but very carefully, every so often, we call this back in Madrid the hula hoop. So think of a hula hoop motion, all right? Without lifting it up, and very carefully again, you give it a little shimmy like this, all right? That's gonna make sure that the rice settles. But you got a little hula hoop. There you go. No, no. All right. You can really get in there. Like, don't be. Yeah, very good. Vale. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so you're gonna give your paella one final little shimmy, all right? You should see the rice sort of start to make its way towards the top, okay? Now, I have a question for you, and I always ask this back in Madrid, and not many people can answer this properly, all right? Or correctly, better said. When you're at a table and they bring you the food, what is the very first thing that we all do? No? The very first thing. No? I do that, but no. No, the very first thing that we all do is look at it, all right? So presentation is very important. At fine dining restaurants like Noma, when we would design the menu, the way that we present things is just as important as how it tastes, because I can serve the most delicious thing in the world, but if it looks like garbage, you're predisposed to not like it so much, okay? That being said, we're gonna be placing the par-cooked chicken, seafood, and the mushrooms back on top in a decorative pattern. Very important, make it beautiful, and also you only want to place it on top. Do not push it or mix it into the rice. We're gonna finish cooking the proteins in its own broth, okay? So make it look beautiful. Ahora sí, yo hago esto, ya pon el gazpacho. It's beautiful, it's great. Thank you. Excuse me. All right, so I have just put on a timer for about 4 to 5 minutes, okay? there's two options. The boring one, which is where we all wait around here and we let this cook for 4 to 5 minutes, and then you take off the lid for 2 minutes to let it fully evaporate. But I don't want you guys to just stand here while you do nothing, okay? So what we're gonna do is the following. I'm gonna walk you through how to finish this off, and then I'm gonna take care of them for you while you guys enjoy the appetizers, okay? So as I mentioned, the lid is gonna stay on for about 3 to 4 minutes. I will then take off the lid on all of them, put it on the stove for 2 more minutes so the paella really dries out, okay? You can do it this way, or the way that restaurants do it as well is everything exactly the same, but instead of putting the lid back on, as you've done right now, you would throw the whole pan in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius. I do not know what that is in Fahrenheit. So whatever it is, anyone know? 200 Celsius Fahrenheit? No? I don't know. So the reason restaurants do it that way is because when you throw it in the oven, you do not need to stay there and watch it cook. So a chef can be much more efficient. You can have them do something else instead of them just hanging out there for 15 minutes, okay? If you do it in the oven though, since the heat is coming from everywhere, not from the bottom, you do not get any crispy rice. So you have to pick your battles. You want crispy rice? Do it the hard way. You want to just forget about it while you have some wine with friends? Throw it in the oven, okay? So we're going to take care of it for you now. So you can now all go ahead and make your way over to the dining room table. The aprons, you can take them on or leave them off. Depends if you're a messy eater, that's up to you. We're going to be serving white and red wine at the table and bring you the appetizers in a couple minutes, okay? Go ahead. No worries.